What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to take a look at a very exciting new collaboration and feature between Snap and Supabase. It's called Snap Cloud. I'm actually super excited for this one. I put together a simple project. It's going to be super easy to get started. Supabase is an amazing company. It's raised from 1 million user to 5 million user in just 1 year. If you don't know, and if you're not familiar, let's say with the subculture of startup or like incoming talent in the tech community, Supabase, it's actually one of the company that powers a lot of YC startup companies, but also bigger partners like Figma, like Lovable, like Vercel. It's really in the game, let's say, of the new AI revolution when writing software 2.0. And I'm super excited to show you a little bit how this product works and how does it work in the context of spectacles. This is Supabase. It's a very sleek website design. Supabase is about databases. Of course, if you understand from the name, you might just infer directly what it does. It's been, for me, like, I have to say, like, I'm not like a database expert, but I've seen a lot of my colleagues and friends starting to use this product. Like, for example, initially it was Vercel, and everyone was using it. So usually that's how it starts. If you wonder, like, I think you should know like 2 or 3 things before to start. So what is Postgres SQL? Postgres SQL is actually a powerful open source object relational database management system. This is sort of like an open source way to build database. Once again, I'm not a database expert, so it's been also a new journey for me, but this is something pretty common that everyone does, that everyone knows when you're trying to build a whole service from front end to back end. And why is Postgres actually good? It's because it's open source, it's highly extensible, and it's feature rich and really support different kind of SQL and NoSQL data types. And it's really rich in terms of features, so you can have very advanced schema, advanced indexing when you're retrieving files and so on. It's very easy to build upon that kind of product. And so Supabase is great because in a way is an open source backend as a service that provide developers with tools to build apps quickly by offering a hosted backend. Considering, let's say that they became famous when they started to market themselves as a Google Firebase alternative. I used Firebase very long time ago, and I noticed that there were some limitations. Supabase includes features like authentication, fast storage, add function, and still feels like you can do a lot, but you're still in control of what you want to do. Meanwhile, usually when you have those services that you can do everything in once, it makes it so easy, but then you have very little control. So feels like that this kind of Postgres wrapper is really like super helpful for people that don't have time to care about certain things. Just to make clear, Supabase is not only powering individuals, it's really powering also like companies, so they have a different level of offer. But let's say that from my experience, from what I experienced myself in the developer community, it picked up because it has a lot of very cool feature, which I will show in this video, and it's really easy to access for people that maybe are not like super into database and backend. Let's take a look at how this comes into spectacles. First of all, why do we want to have this sort of function into something like spectacles? Because we need a very performant way to do things on glasses, and Supabase kind of offered those features, and they wrap them very nicely, super easy to put, like I would say probably the easiest way to do certain things like we're doing here. Generally, this offers more depth for augmented reality application. I feel like we are in the moment where we don't need to think about augmented reality applications like just like a prototype or just something that you can see this kind of front end, which is little gimmicky, little 3D. We actually need to think about like, well, I go on a website, and this website service, whatever that is usually comes with a lot of depth. There are a lot of the UX flow, the flow of the website is pretty complex. Usually you can do a lot of things. So we want to create the same utility, of course, on glasses, because this is new generation of applications. So we also need like a strong backend, and we also need to have like a feature rich environment that we can build with. So when you will open this sample, you will see this window here in the preview that says Snap Cloud. The first thing you have to do is actually configure the Snap Cloud requirements. For the Snap Cloud requirements, you're required to have a Supabase project. A Supabase project is sort of this model that you need to drag and drop here. That is the main thing that you need to use for connecting to Supabase. So how to do that? Let's do it right away. It's very, very easy. We go on Window, and then we go on Supabase, and then we log in. It will ask me to log into Lens Studio if I did not log in yet. Now I'm logged in. And when you log in, you see your organization at the top, and then you see your test here. Also, another thing that you will need to do is importing credentials. So let's click on import credential, and then this credential module is imported. If you click on it, you will see in this module, the project ID, the project name, the URL, and public token. These two things are the project URL and public token are the most important things that you will need to do anything on Supabase. So let's say that you're not actually going to use Supabase through this kind of Snap Cloud service. Usually what you would do, you would have this token in your environment file. But here, because we're making things, of course, for Lens Studio, and we're just like trying to make things so much easier to set up for you, you will just need to reference the Supabase project. So let's try to understand how to use it. We go in Snap Cloud requirement, drag and drop, and the warning is finally gone. We can start to play with this template. Let's go one by one, and this should be relatively easy, so nothing crazy. So there are like, before to actually going through the example, I want to show you whenever you enter in Supabase, you have like a dashboard, and then there is like a sort of like a side view here with different options. You will need to just like these are the main feature, right? Database, authentication, storage, edge function, real time. Then there is table editor for adding tables, and so on and so on. So we are going to show in this tutorial like how to retrieve and add tables. We're going to have like we're going to see how to have storage and retrieve things, and we're going to see how to use the real-time function, which I'm very excited, and then we're going to use edge function, which you might not be familiar with this term, but we're also going to tackle that. So now let's try the very first thing. So the table, read data from tables. I have a bunch of tables here. So this is data, that's this mock data that I just added, and you can just use it if you want. So this add to tables, these two are two CSV file. What I did was just going on the table editor, and then I've been adding some table. It's very easy to add tables. Tables are basically like a spreadsheet. And like you do a new table, you name it, and then you can also do something pretty easy, pretty cool, that you can just import data from CSV. And this will allow you just to import the file that I prepare for you without actually manually writing these files here or write them here. One other thing that I want to mention in this example, in this tutorial, we are never enabling any low-level security. We're just doing everything without level security, and we're just doing things public. So like just making sure that you know that we're not really like that we're not doing the real thing. This is just a test basically. But if you're interested to enable row level security, there is all of policies section. You will need to write the policies for all of your databases and everything, and just basically how to manage access to your data. So yeah, let's see here. I just added some tables. These tables are really like different spreadsheet with different data, and this is completely random stuff, so there is nothing sensitive here. And I'm just gonna try to turn on this example. We see actually client is ready. We see right away in the console here, and we're just gonna click on this table, and then we retrieve all of the data from these tables. So we see here all of the sum of the data that we are retrieving from the table connector. So just an example, we see hello Supabase 176. Let's see if it matches. It makes sense. 176 and so on. So this is the very first example that allows you to say, okay, I'm connected. I can actually do something with this, right? Like you can have eventually a database where you can easily retrieve data based on ID, based on columns, and so on and so on and so on. All right, now that we are connected, let's go to the second example, which is called real-time cursor. This is super exciting, probably one of my favorite. So real-time cursor, let's turn it on. And there is the concept of channels. So you will need to subscribe to a channel. And when you enter this channel, you can just read or write some messages or anything in this channel. You can basically just transfer data. So in this case, we have this real-time cursor application that tries to emulate cursor that moves in space on our application in Spectacles, but also is synced to the movement of a web application. Folder, there is another folder called Web Cursor Controller, which is just a local HTML. And then here you will see that when I open it, there is a Spectacle Cursor Controller web application. How does this work? Well, you will need to insert your Supabase URL and anonymous key. So let's go again in our Supabase project and let's get those. Like we can just connect the Spectacles, and now we are ready to go with our application. The default of this real-time application is broadcasting, so meaning that when I will move the cursor in my application, the cursor will also move in the web application. So when I move it in Lens Studio, it will also move there, which means that when you move it on glasses. Turn on the cursor, you will move the cursor, and the cursor will also move on the web page. Another cool thing that you can do is, this is gonna work anyway, even if you don't do what I'm about to do, but we also included that one. You can go on the real-time section here in Supabase, and then you can say join this channel, which is my channel. So you can just join this channel, and then you start listening. And if eventually you have in place some debug statement, you can also have something like this that comes up. You have some major events, but also if you have a table, for example, here I have a table called cursor debug, and this will collect all of the positions. Not always, because in real time you're kind of like, you need to be careful that you're streaming so much data in seconds, so you probably don't want to collect them all if there isn't maybe like a specific purpose. But we are already debugging things here, so I was thinking like, what, not like debug just some things just to showcase that it's working here. So if you do this, just remember that in the table editor, the cursor debug needs to be real-time table. So remember to, whenever you create this table, which you can also do adding a CSV file as we provided, you can do enable real-time, so that will be able to broadcast the changes in these tables. All right, now we go for the third example. Let's toggle off the real-time. The third example is probably one of the most common in the use of database for AR or VR experiences. It's just literally loading assets from a database. In this case, we have a bucket on Supabase called specs bucket. And then we have a model in the model folder, an image in the images folder, and an audio in the audio folder. So let me show you how this looks like in Supabase. You go on the storage here, storage section, and then we see the specs bucket, which is a public bucket. And then we have just literally a directory. These files, whenever you click on them, are previewed here, and you can also download them or get the URL to reference if you want to really hard code what you're trying to get. But here you see that I referenced them all. I referenced my bucket, and we should be good to go because I already referenced the Snap Cloud requirements. So if I click on storage, I expect to see an image populating this image holder. And I expect to see a 3D model, and I expect to see also a music, since I have a reference to the audio output. So if you see audio player is this component here. So this has like an audio track, an audio component. And so because we have that, we should be able to load every asset. So let's try. Nice. We get some logs, and then we see appearing a rabbit model. We see an image of spectacles populating my title image, and then of course we hear this song playing. These functions are basically really just functions that you can deploy very easily on Supabase, and they will do things for you, and you can just reference those functions within your code somewhere else. These, when you set up an edge function, which really is easy as deploying a new function, and then you will go by editor, and then you will have a bunch of things here. You can also have like, there are also examples. So there's a lot of examples here you can use. Find what you want to do. This will be pretty much the interface of your edge functions. It will give you like a stats of invocation, execution time, and so on. But then of course we will need to create our function. So in this case, this is a very simple, example for getting an image with a public URL. So I'm gonna get an image from my database that I actually have on Supabase as well. So that's just casuality, like doesn't need to be from Supabase, as long as it's a URL of an image is fine. And then what we're gonna do is like processing the image and then saving the image. Okay, so let's try to test with another image. So for example, let's get this and let's move it here. Hope the format should be, it's gonna work. We see all what is happening here. So edge function process image successfully, image processed and stored, original size, process size. We're not actually doing anything. This is just an example. And then it says operation downloaded. So because we had like a link there, we should be able to see on our storage that image. So we see the processed image, which is just the same image, but it's been stored on the bucket. So just to make you understand what would be possible to do in a hackathon, in the YC hackathon, Supabase Select, actually a team of hackers just created like a way to pixelate images and just like take a photo with the camera API from Spectacles, pixelate the image, and return the same photo pixelated. I thought it was a cool application. So up to you. That could be, I don't know, privacy backend or just an artistic lens. But that was a kind of a cool application to take a look at. So you got a whole overview of this project now. Let's take a look just very briefly at the scripting side of the project, even if it's super straightforward, and you're gonna have a lot of documentation to support all of your projects. So for the table connection is really easy. So like here you see how's the structure. There is the test data, and then you are inserting. You're getting all the records, so you can select a limit of 5 and then you're getting records, and so on and so on. It's pretty straightforward. There is basically a insert or update or delete. It's pretty much like you're doing operation on a table. You can just enter, you can just like manipulate data, which is pretty cool, doing this from Lens Studio. Then for the real-time cursor, once you initialize everything, you will need to set up a real-time channel. So now we are setting up a real-time channel. You will have this channel name that comes from our entry that we put as an input text. Then we subscribe to the channel, and once we subscribe to the channel, basically there is data in common between everyone that is on that channel. And then whenever we subscribe to the channel, we can switch to broadcast mode, which meaning that we will be broadcasting, or switch to follow mode. We will be following the cursor that actually is moving on the web. This is how we're broadcasting things from our end. So broadcast cursor position via Supabase real time. We just send a sort of schema, and that schema is interpreted when you get like on the cloud. This is where we're listening for the cursor movement from the PC. And then whenever this is received, we are handling the incoming cursor. And then basically we are applying a transformation, and we are converting from the web coordinates to spatial coordinates in this case. For loading the assets, this is more of a Spectacle specific way to work. And if you go in our documentation, you can find all of the information at the internet access. So download an image from a URL, download a GLTF with animation from a URL, and so on and so on. And this is just the application of it based on just a Supabase entry. So we're gonna just connect directly with that storage and just like have paths instead of hard code like a URL, right? Because we have these paths here, and we have the storage packet, and then we have the model file name. So let's go check out where this appears again. So this storage packet, this model file name, this is the model URL, so storage API URL. So we are just like building the model URL based on the storage API URL. Finally, for the edge function, it's cool because really almost nothing happens to be on the Spectacle side. Everything happens on the cloud. So as long as we have that function API URL, we're just pinging that URL, and then we will be enabling the edge function. And then we will display the image when it's being processed, which in this case, we are not really processing anything. It's just an example, but I hope that gives you a little bit of a structure if you're just trying to do something similar. I'm actually super excited about this collaboration, Supabase per Snap. I can see a lot of different applications based on all of this feature that I've been showing in this video. This is definitely just the beginning. I can't wait myself to discover a lot more feature about Supabase and really understand how to implement it in a very interesting way for augmented reality. Thank you for following this tutorial. Peace.